So where do we start with stage 18? Well, it was with Stefan, who you probably have become familiar with through the beard. Fantastic rider, love the guy like a brother, absolute hero. Always some adventure when you're riding with Stefan. Doesn't matter what happens. In fact, the only two mechanical DNFs I've had on this entire Grand Tour have been with Stefan. Not necessarily him having the DNF, but they've always been with him, and it is always an adventure. He's very pragmatic, very practical, very assertive, very good, and also a huge amount of fun to be around as well. So he rides like a child with that abandonment and that energy and that freedom that you had when you were 8 years old, and I love him for that dearly, and I wouldn't have wished for a better person to have shared stage 18's adventure with. So it all started off, well, as it should have done really. The idea was it was 80 kilometers, so actually quite a short stage in Brecon. The last stage in Brecon, really quite mountainous, and with the sort of highlight being going up the Devil's Staircase, which is quite a famous climb, absolutely brutal. Amazing roads that we were going to be riding around that were going to be very quiet, but my tiredness, which undoubtedly is definitely there now, resulted in us, instead of doing it in a clockwise direction, we set off in an anti-clockwise direction. So the road that we were supposed to be coming in on, back into where the cars were parked, we actually left on. And I realised my error fairly soon. I should have listened to the Garmin and done what it said. So we decided to use Commute, which I've never really used, to see if we could cut across to the road that we were supposed to be going on. And it looked like it was going to be quite straightforward. So we ended up riding down a sort of smallish side road to try and reach this slightly more main road on the correct route. And slowly but surely, the road surface started to deteriorate and got incredibly steep, up to like 25% in places. And then it just got worse and worse.
This is what happens when you don't follow your map and you end up going along the wrong road, and you have to find your way to the right road. You end up riding along stuff like this, and this is not the plan, is it?
To the right,
road, which gives us new options, but I reckon this is just the perfect for this farm really.
what? It won't go anywhere, you mean?
I reckon when we get down, we'll get on some tarmac.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god. We go straight on at the crossing. No, we go right.
They don't have to do this on the Tour de France. Mind your hands on the through axle. There's a.
That's right, I'm going to come under there.
Got it? Thanks, mate. Oh, Steph.
Man, I'm mega sorry about this route.
Well, it's not your fault. It's my fault. We should have followed the fucking map. Ah. This is going to add a little bit to the journey.
So eventually we found the road we were looking for, and it took us up into these tracked roads, incredible road surface, just amazing scenery, reservoir. I've been up there in all weathers. I've been up there in training camp in February. I went up there earlier on this year in the spring, and I went up there today and it was kind of like in the high 20s. And it was just glorious. We probably spotted maybe 2 or 3 other cyclists, and that was about it in terms of bike riders. A couple of motorbikes, a couple of timber lorries, and maybe 1 or 2 cars in the entire sort of 60k loop that we did. It was absolutely fantastic riding.
Imagine driving those things around up here, look. I mean, that's mental, what a job. Hiya. It's pretty good, isn't it? Okay. just beautiful. Not you, you're not beautiful. You are actually, you're a beautiful man. But that's a beautiful view. Look at that! And the view. Oh, it's beautiful, man. How far have we come? We're not even halfway. It's going to be a long day out. But it's worth it. There's some spectacular roads, aren't they, mate?
Yeah.
They're really
awesome, awesome descents and switchbacks through there.
Yeah, really good.
And so we arrived at the base of the Devil's Staircase. Now, I've ridden up this in 2016 before, and I actually think that not knowing what it's like is better than knowing what it's like. And also, I'm a great deal heavier than I was in 2016. Probably about the same fitness level, certainly more cycling fit now, but certainly much, much heavier. For those of you that don't know, it's kind of 25% ramps, and it just keeps going and going and going. It is utterly brutal. There's no doubt about it. It's not something that anyone can ride up easily. We came at it from the reservoir side, not from the side that the 1992 milk race went up, and more on that in just a minute. And this ride up resulted in me weaving quite badly. In fact, I got quite knocked off with Stefan. This is the beauty of having a friend like Stefan. You can be quite straight with someone like him, and his kind of antics were starting to grate on me a bit, because I was kind of had a bit of a sense of humour failure. So I told him just to get up the hill, and he did, and he sort of did it with a little bit of ease. Actually, I'm not saying he found it super easy, but certainly better than I did. And those of you that kind of ride bikes a lot will know that, you know, when you're riding very slowly, it's very hard to keep the bike kind of dead straight, and you start to weave a little bit, and the front wheel starts to kind of meander as you're kind of essentially, as somebody said yesterday, and I think it's a fantastic quote, you're basically pulling a 500 watt track stand, which is exactly what it felt like. And on one of the steepest bits, I kind of ended up steering right, and the toe of my left shoe touched the back of my front wheel and immediately stopped me. And I unclipped, I managed to not fall off, and when you're trying to sort of get going again on 25-30% climbs, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to get those wheels turning and clipping in. So that was me done on the climb. I had to walk up to the top of the next super steep section, and then it eased off, and we got back on our bikes and off we went.
Just ride up it, mate. Huh? Just ride up it. It's freaking me out. Shit. Can beat me.
And so there's a well-known clip from the 1992 milk race where the bike riders are struggling to get up the other side that we descended down, and there's a couple of cars that need pushing up. So Stefan decides it would be a good idea to see if he could ride up the very steepest inside corner.
The Devil's Staircase, one of the Belgians getting a push, not allowed actually, but he's not objecting. And I tell you, this car could do with a push. It's struggling, isn't it? Spectators love this. But of course it impedes the path of the riders. We just caught a glimpse of one of the poles trying to thread his way through the inside, and actually the enthusiasm of the spectators have pushed him off the bike.
Well, these are cruel slopes, and his little helping hand here for Bernie Burns too, one of the Great Britain professionals, and he'll be delighted with that, I'm quite sure, as he heads.
Any more cars? I'm taking this super wide. Yeah, they came up here. I've got a picture of, I'll show you a picture when we get back. I'll message it to you. This corner, the cars couldn't get up. They were driving like Fiats and stuff, and they couldn't get up here. Oh no! That's because you lost your back wheel. You okay?
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky I was filming.
Should we do it again?
Sure, but the only problem is, right, when you're filming this stuff, it never gives you a sense of how steep it is. So, go on. Don't lose your back wheel this time.
Yeah.
Go on. Go on, Stefan. Yes, mate. Respect.
And so he made it, brilliantly made it up that ridiculous climb despite having an off. Didn't seem to faze him too much at all. So we ended up descending down into the valley. It's a beautiful ride down there over the river. You kind of cross over the river over a bridge, avoiding the sheep, avoiding the farm vehicles, and eventually made our way back home. But it was been quite a venture. It wasn't the straightforward ride it was supposed to be, but it was so much better because of the adventure that we had. It's probably the one that will stick out in my mind the most, I think, out of every single one that we've done so far. But that's the story of stage 18, and I'm nearly there now, nearly finished, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.